Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Great having you here. Thank you so much for your support and thank you all from the bottom of my heart. Of course, first of all, I'm hoping you guys are having a blast on the weekend, okay? Whatever you're doing, of course, doing something you're passionate and having a blast and great time with your friends and family and fully rested and recharged. Ready for the week ahead, okay, guys? But I just want to do a quick shout out, of course, for all my subscribers Sings. I talked about a couple other stuff around the watches. We're talking about EDCs. Every day we carry knives and the flashlights. For basically that's what I have. But I sort of rediscovered my passion for flashlights and knives because I really started. So see, watches. I always had a passion for Seiko. Of course, Seiko was the first brand, watch brand that my family had, that my dad had, which I'll talk about that watch probably in the future video. I actually still have that watch. It was a 1998 or 1999 Kinetic. It was actually not a diver's watch, but it was 200 diver water meter resistant. I remember back in the days, Kinetic was a big thing. It was actually quite expensive, that watch, back in the days, but of course I still remember, when I was sort of back in the uni and before that, 10, 12 years ago, I was looking at different things. The internet was different things back then, right? But I was trying to look up everything that I had about knives. So again, those knives, for example, this one, right? This Shark Flash 2. This is old knife, guys. This is 12, 13 years old. The other one that I had, of course, you guys know, right? Is the CRKT. This is M21, the bigger boy. And those things are old, right? But of course, I love it. That's why I bought them, right? And this flashlight, this is amazing flashlight, Pelican 7060, very underrated. In my eyes, I mean, the flashlight technology back then, this was breakthrough. Of course, the Los Angeles Police Department, LAPD, was involved in terms of manufacturing and just in terms of the standard where the flashlight needs to be. So those things back in the days, they were not that expensive, but they cost me quite a bit of money back in the days, right? And you guys can see in my last couple videos, I sort of rediscovered my passion for it, and knowing, of course, the culture down here in Australia is very different. Of course, we follow you guys in North America, you guys in Northern Hemisphere. Australians, in terms of society, culture, rule, we pretty much have our identity on our own. But with the many trends that is going on lately, we follow what's going on in the U.S. So the EDC topic itself, of course, in U.S. is much larger, is much identifiable. There are much more things that going on, right? People don't tend to carry a lot of stuff like flashlights and knives down under. Australia, people will think that you're nuts to a point. But again, depends on what you do. I think it's actually critical, just like the watches, right? Especially, of course, your situation have to allow you, right? If you work in the office environment, catch the train, public transportation, you probably can snap a good flashlight into a bag just to make sure you have it with you every day. But with knives and a bigger flashlight, tactical things like that, is very hard to carry, right? And people think that you are out of your mind to a point. But that doesn't change my passion. So I guess, of course, we talk about things we love, the watches, and as a watch enthusiast, it is the idea of, it doesn't matter how many sort of the phones that we have, the smart watches that we have, but we still want to have things that truly just mechanical, the things and pieces of equipment that we can rely on, right? And we sort of have that passion spill over easily to other things. So this video is talking about how can we make the way that I started, right? I bought this. I bought the flashlight. I bought a nice, this is of course synthetic leather pouch, and this beautiful, this like a copper, very heavy, guys. I was actually said it's a tactical pen to a point, because it's very pointing and short on the end. You can definitely smash through some objects to a degree. I bought those two things. I bought those three things within the last 2 days, right? Because I sort of want to get it started, but cost effective way, and just to start building my ideas, the things that I see that it suits my lifestyle, my personality. Of course, now we have watches, right? Now we'll talk about how can we buy things that sort of, we'll have an SKX. You want to have a black flashlight, and when you wear your different watches, different colors, you probably want to match them up. So I'm looking at different kinds of flashlight. Of course, there are a couple brands that sort of come into my knowledge, and potentially I buy them. Phoenix is a great brand. Uh, I had a couple Phoenix light back in the days, and I sort of lost them all when I moved houses in between. So, guys, so I really want to start low, um, and I do understand it's a tremendous point I have to make, because just like watches, you don't have to getting. Again, I know this sounds crazy, right? But back in the days, those SKSs used to cost about $200, right? 250. You don't have to start your Seikos with SPB. You can start with a turtle, right? Even if you've got money to lay around, you want to enjoy the good design. You don't have to start. You don't have to save all the money for a Marine Master in the beginning, right? You can start low and really enjoying, I guess, just intrinsic value of the things, right? Get a good taste of the design, and just go from there. Doesn't matter how much money you have, but of course, if we talk about money sensitive, then my idea is how to start this off with $100. Of course, watch is not is excluded, because you guys already have watches, right? But the way that I look at this is very simple. The three things that I have in my bag, in my pouch, is a pen, a very strong quality pen, very handy flashlight that does day-to-day job fine, and of course a knife. And I'll talk about the things just in a minute in a slightly detailed fashion, the way I look at it in terms of philosophy. Now, you don't have to start. Let me just say this, right? You don't have to start. The reason why I call this is $100 is you can buy a more expensive pouch. You can have a single tactical pen cost north of $50, $60. You can go for much higher grade of Phoenix or other brands. Surefire. I think I actually had a Surefire in the past. You can start with $150 flashlight, $100 on its own, right? You can start with a Benchmade, those Spartacles. Those, of course, they're mini. What's the other one that I had in the past? Cold Steel. I had them a couple of nights in the past. Again, I lost a lot of stuff. But you don't have to spend like a $300-$400 budget to begin with your EDC carries, especially just includes the knives, a pen, and the flashlight. Of course, I mean, don't forget that I have this. I'm a massive fan of this flashlight, but again, in terms of really day-to-day carries, this is not very very efficient, right? But again, if you're heading out for a specific task, or you go hunting, of course, if you're in a rural area, a remote area, of course, do carry the charger with you, right? But that's when those bad boys will really come into play, and again, they can truly blinding people out. It's amazing how they're packed. I think this is about 500 lumens only, right? Back in the days, it was a big number, but the way they pack into the engineering of the beam, and how they sort of focus to throw that light in an extremely focused area with high density. I mean, it doesn't get hot at all, but there's a reason why the police department involved. This is non-lethal, but this is a serious weapon. But again, if we talk about a day-to-day carry, they are not suitable, right? They are beautifully selected for a task and tactical perspective. Same thing as this knife, right? This is a lot longer, a lot larger life than that sock, right? So there you go. I think this is about about 20-30% larger. So again, those things you can add them into a collection later on. Take your time, and sort of study them. Look at different blades material, look at different mechanism of the locks, all that kind of stuff, and then you make your choices, right? I think you can stop it, but don't feel overwhelmed that you have to spend big money on those big brands and settle with it. That's what the social media, that's what the marketing trying to do, right? They try to They try to get you to spend the maximum amount of money to begin with, and then and then just keep sucking money into the hobby. But you can surely start low. I pick up this pouch for about 15 bucks, 12 to 15 bucks. Of course, not as a high grade material. Again, this is synthetic leather, but it does the job fine. As long as it will last me more than 12 months, a year, I think it will be job well done, to be honest, right? So this is 15 bucks. This pen is about 8 bucks. Again, I made my selective choices based on the reviews. Of course, based on the material, it's gotta be heavy enough. I gotta make sure this, what do you call this? This is a sort of glass breaker if that's required. Of course, you can't really break, you know, a thick glass, right? But maybe if you get it stuck in the car, depends on the situation, it might become helpful, right? And this can become a non-lethal weapon, right? Of course, depending on who you are. If you're John Wick, then you talk about different things now. Flashlight, I looked a few. Of course, I had my sort of not knowledge, but I had my standard back in days how to sort of make choices about flashlight. But I was amazed at how far and how fast sort of the technology around flashlight has sort of really developed over the last sort of 5-6 years. The size, it became a lot smaller. The material, the construction quality is beautiful. There's no wonder the big names such as Phoenix. You can tell this is quality piece of equipment. It fits in your palm. It's actually got you can tell stand this light, which is fantastic because essentially I can use this as a sort of additional illumination on the desk if I need it to be. So tail switch, you push it down, that's give you I think about 30 lumens, and then you can change the mode. There are 3 modes, right? Low, medium, high, by simply tapping on the switch, not all the way down. So that's the first, that's the low, that's the medium, and that's high. High goes to about 130 lumens. I can feel it here right now. This is perfect for day-to-day uses. No issues whatsoever. There's really not much additional programming that's built into this, and you got double clip. You can get under your hat. You can, on the belt. It's as light as a feather. And in terms of source of battery, you're looking at a single AA size battery. Of course, weather resistance. I'm not sure whether this is completely waterproof. I'm not gonna submerge in the water for sure. There's no need to it. But for something like this, I think this is enough. Sorry, I forgot to mention you can twist the sort of the front part of the flashlight to change the mode as well from low to high. So the E12 was about 25 bucks. So 10, 15 bucks, 10 bucks, 25 plus this 50 bucks. Knife. I had this knife back in the days. I think cost me about 35, 40 bucks back then, right? But again, I love this knife because how secure it is. As you can completely lock this, so it's not gonna go anywhere. Once you unlock this, the speed of deployment is extremely fast. Nothing expensive, but it does get the job done. Cutting, day-to-day stuff, cardboard. If you need to cut some ropes, it is a small knife, but it does the job. It's fine, guys. Of course, you can upgrade with the game of knives. It's a whole different hobby to itself. But again, I'm not sure how much if they're still selling the SOC Flash 2, but it's a very good knife. I like it. I think it does the job extremely fine in terms of day-to-day basis. And again, if you can find something like this, even secondhand, guys, for 40 bucks, 50 bucks out of that, or getting a similar style that has a safety, if you're sort of new to the knives, you don't know how to penalize very efficiently. So 50 bucks, 25, 10, that's less than 100. You probably get a few dollars in changes, right? So again, the message is this: same thing as your watches. You like the idea of being self-independence. You want to be resourceful when the situation requires you to be. Whether that's you having a blackout, of course, around your house, or in your workplace. Not saying those things can be much of an offensive strategy when it comes to extreme circumstances, but again, nothing will really help you in that circumstances to a point, right? But in terms of just getting through your day-to-day needs, you feel additional sense of, no, I'm not going to say security, but you feel additional sense of confidence in going through different tasks and areas in day-to-day lives, especially if you got young ones and loved ones that you need to protect. It's not a bad idea, guys. Again, I know you guys in US, a you're EDC fanatics, right? But here down on that, we are not really. I mean, we don't allow people to carry guns in public, right? Of course, each country has its own framework around weapons and all that. But again, we can only pray for people to do the right thing to protect themselves, and so we can protect each other to have a safer environment for all, especially the vulnerable ones, right? So again, guys, that's it, right? So what we're gonna do now is just show you how to put them together. Of course, the pen goes in the middle, the flashlight goes to the side, and of course you have the sock. You have the knife slide through from this end here. So that's it. You carry on the belt. This is $90. Not bad. With your watches, you can get through a day safely, right? Again, be resourceful when your situation requires. Again, where I'm gonna go from here is I'm gonna definitely look into a flashlight. I definitely like this light. I like something small but again powerful to a point, because I've got a tactical right there. So I'm probably not gonna buy. I forgot to bottom them back in the day, but now I think since I sort of in the very end of it, I think they do PD series back in the days, not the Pelican Phoenix. They do PD, but PD 35 wasn't it? That's a sort of tactical style. They had more tactical style back then, but for me, as we guys know, right? I mean, you don't need to be tactical all the time. You can just try to have some fun. And I truly believe, don't take this thing too serious. All those tools are there and mean to provide support to you when you need it, as long as they're reliable. They made it to a very high standard, and I tell you what, that's fun. Of course, unless you're a different category of demographics, if you're going on as a security purpose job, you're inspecting high value goods, you need to have extremely strong, the highest standard of illumination and cutting ability. Then of course they're professional grade stuff, right? But those are not professional grade. None of them are, right? Of course, except this light. This is very much a weapon. So explore, right? Don't get your head down once you look at you Google what's the knife that people carry. I think people talk about, again, the brands that I mentioned, they cost north of 100. People talk about $100 flashlight. People talk about $1,000 watches, and boom, a couple grand is gone. You don't need to do that, right? There's no point. And by having this, you will probably be more calm. Knowing you like what you do, you like what you carry, and you'll be able to just have a peace of mind and go from there. And of course, start building on the collection of your things, of your watches. You go from turtles, then you go from 260 masses, and then you understand the design concept of it, and then you buy. My next one will be a Marine Master 300 8 out movements. I've got the SBB and tune out already, but you want to have a progressive view on the things you do. You don't have to rush it to find where sort of A to B and get there the quickest way. Then you're gonna miss a whole lot of fun in between. All right, don't try to get from A to B ASAP. That's something that's really going on with people's mind. Doesn't matter what they're doing, jobs, people doing stuff. You don't want to go from A to B too quickly, right? It's a progressive goal that is coming from the love of passion, right? If you go there too quickly, then what are you gonna do next, right? If you're buying the most expensive Seikos, if you're buying a Benchmade, I forgot the model name. If you buy a $200 knives, you're buying a $200 torches, you're buying a $100 tactical pen, then where is next? What are you gonna do then, right? Are you gonna just quit it and then forget about it? You probably don't even have the guts to carry them because they cost so much money. So grow with your hobby, knowing what you are, knowing what you're exploring, and just have fun with it. Alright guys, now with that out of the way, hope you have a great time again, no matter where you're at, and no doubt I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye bye guys.